Okay, I want to talk about, is college degree really that useful? In my personal opinion, I think college degree can somewhat be useful. Um, when I look at the history, there are some people, there are some famous people who had degrees and they used it, but not for a long period of time. For example, Ted Kaczynski, who had a bachelor, master, and PhD in mathematics. Um, he taught mathematics for 3 years, and then he had to resign because he wasn't really that great of a math professor. And he went and done other things, live in a cabin before he was arrested because they found out that he was a Unabomber. And then he was doing all those bombing in the 1990s. Um, Guys like Ted Bundy, he was a psychology major. One of his psychology degrees was able to pave the way to a path to becoming a serial killer because he was able to manipulate his victims to give them a false sense of hope that he needed help, and then he would just attack them from behind. And there are other people in my life that I've met who don't really use their college degree anymore. Like when I was at Nova Community College, I had a professor by the name of Sinja Johnson. She had an undergraduate in chemistry and then she got an MBA. And a chemistry degree is no longer useful because at a, she's teaching marketing slash business at a community college level, which is why I don't think she needs that chemistry degree anymore because she probably changed field and decided to get an MBA and teach marketing. And that's about it. Now, now, college, and there were also people, some rappers that I don't know what was the point of getting a college degree. For example, J. Cole got a degree in communication. He he graduated magna cum laude from St. John University. But what does his communication degree help him do? Like, I don't find his communication degree really that helpful because Lil Wayne dropped out of high school, when he was only 14 years old, and he became a rapper just like J. Cole. And he's just as good of a rapper as J. Cole. So I don't know what he's really using his communication degree for. So I just find it pretty useless because what was the point of him going to college? I mean, you could have been a professor and taught communication. So this is where I find it useless. It was pretty useless for him to get a degree in communication, and also the degree that I find really useless is journalism. Because you don't need a degree to become a journalist. Temple, one of my favorite YouTuber, you know, he did not he worked at Occupy Wall Street. He was a journalist, and he did not need um, a, to go to school get a journalism degree to to be a journalist. And then after that, he became a YouTuber. He has three YouTube channel with over 1 million. You know, yeah, and also YouTubers. I think you know college degree could be useful for YouTubers. I mean, college degree are intended to go to the workforce, but you also need that knowledge. You need to be knowledgeable about some areas of life to be able to become a YouTuber. For example, YouTuber like, Kyle Kalinske, like Ben Shapiro, like Lauren Chen, these guys are political science degree graduate. So they have that knowledge in political science to make political videos to be able to get a massive amount of people to follow them, whether it's on Twitter, on YouTube, and other social media platform to talk about things that they find interesting. And people like me enjoy watching their YouTube channel. Um, what? Yeah, yeah, it is true that some people that that when they get a college degree about something that they don't really use a college degree. Also, so J. Cole is one of these, rapper that I know that don't really use his college degree because rapping is just rapping. There are rappers who are rappers who, drop out of college or didn't even went to school at all. They just rap. I'm a rapping, they have to put a lot of hard work to come with lyrics and produce songs that people like me like. Yeah. So that was what really is in my mind about college degree. And so you got to be able to be knowledgeable about some topics to be eligible to make videos. And also, you don't really need any knowledge. For example, you could talk basketball, you could be knowledgeable about soccer, you could be knowledgeable about sports in general, and you could just make videos talking about, who's the best soccer player or who's the best basketball player when you look at, whether he's a, better shooter, better dribbler, better defender, and so forth. Yeah. So you want to expand your knowledge in some areas to be eligible to make videos so that people enjoy and people will want to, watch you. Or if you want to become a teacher, you need that degree. Yeah, and Ted Kaczynski was that teacher, he really loved mathematics. He went and got a bachelor, master, PhD, and he was one of the youngest professor to be hired at the University of Berkeley. And then he only lasted for 3 years and then resigned. But it was an incredible feat. I mean, this dude graduated when he was only 16 years, like 15 years old. And then he finished his undergraduate degree, at the university, no, and Harvard, You know, he got his undergraduate degree in Harvard. He took a 200 Howard Murray test, but Ted Kaczynski for me was like a legend. Him and Ben Shapiro, you cannot touch these guys in terms of academics. 15 to 16 years old, that's insane. It is impressive to graduate valedictorian, but it's way more impressive to skip grades. That's insane. That means that you just have like an insane work ethics, and no one matches the work ethics. But Kaczynski did underachieve when he on his undergraduate study. For somebody, you know, who had an IQ of 167, you should have at least finished with a GPA of 3.5 to 3.7. Because I mean, you did underachieve, but you did overachieve, when you went to his master and PhD at the University of Michigan, which was, he had 12 A's, 5 B's, and 1 F. But you missed that opportunity to graduate honors. For somebody who had an IQ of 167, you should have finished your undergraduate degree with honors. Yeah. You know, there are some people who wants to change field and their degree will no longer become useful. I remember in high school, I had my history teacher. Her name was Miss Brady. You know, a history teacher was useful. She was teaching history, and then she wanted to change field and then become an assistant principal. So she went and got an undergraduate degree in whatever we call it, so she can become a principal. But the two people that I'm more impressed about when it comes to academics, it's Ben Shapiro and the Unabomber. These guys are beasts. Like they're able to skip grades just like that. And that is just incredible. Mathematics. Kaczynski was a mathematic god. Like with a little bit of training, he probably would have been the best math professor ever. I remember I had a physics professor by the name of Dean Aworth. He was science Olympian. He was teacher of the year. He was outstanding male teacher. And then I remember during the the final exam week, he said that you could do the final project and then you could do the final exam. And he did not care that people were like using their phone to look up answers online, and he gave everybody 100. I mean, the dude was a legend. I mean, 30 years of teaching physics, and then um, he was able to he was able to accomplish a lot. He overachieved. You know, he- that's amazing. And I was just amazed by him. That's the same thing with my World History 1 teacher. She was a teacher of the year at a different school. You know, I really underachieved in high school, and I wish I had worked harder, because first because I was taking like easy level classes. I was taking like regular classes, and I wish, I had worked harder to finish with at least a 2.8 to 2.9 because I wasn't really doing like any APs or honors classes. I was taking regular classes, and I finished with an abysmal 2.0. I wish I had worked harder, especially for the examination based, which is what I tend to struggle with. Yeah. I wish I came with better method of studying, but now I'm just discovering there's so many great method of study that can help me, study for one on the exam for my classes so I can be a, great student. So this is what is all on my mind. So in conclusion, is college degree useful? I mean, it depends. It can be used if you want to change career, then that degree will no longer be useful. Like for example, one of my marketing teacher back at Nova Community College, she no longer need chemistry because she got an MBA and then she could just teach business. Um, I also had like a intro to international business professor who had a bachelor, master, PhD, and he had a bachelor, master, PhD in chemical engineering. So I guess he didn't want to do chemical engineering anymore. So he went and got his MBA and becoming a business teacher. So it depends. Now for all the YouTubers, yes, their college degree can be useful because they can talk about politics, criminal justice, and then they can get massive amount of people to follow them. Or you could just be knowledgeable and you can be knowledgeable about sports in general, and you don't really need any degree for that. Me, the most useless degree, I think, is a communication degree. Because what's the point of a communication degree aside from the fact that you want to be a teacher? Like I have good communication skill because I can speak English. So, like just by speaking English, I have good communication skills with people. Like I remember when I first came to the United States, like back in January of 2013, my English was not good. So I didn't really have any good communication skills. So I have, to rely on Google Translate to communicate with people. But by August of 2013, I was already fluent with the English language. So I could have good communication skills with people. So communication is the most useless degree, in my personal opinion. Communication, journalism, and photography. Photography, when I was in freshman in high school, um, everything that my photography teacher taught me, I was able to do. So I can become a photographer if I'm trained. I don't necessarily need a degree to be a photographer. I could be trained to become a photographer. Okay, so this is all I wanted to say. I wanted to make it a little longer compared to that live stream that I made, like 11 months ago, where it was only 5 minutes. So this is all I wanted to get off my chest. I don't expect people to watch me. I don't expect people to, you know, be in the chat because I'm just here to just speak what's on my mind. And this is what was on my mind, is whether if college degree is useful.